What is up, everybody? Thanks for coming to my YouTube channel to check out the Chicago Bears online franchise mode for MSPA. But before we dive into the Chicago Bears 2021 season, I wanted to give you a little bit of information about MSPA. Now, MSPA is a 32-user franchise online mode that plays in a fully sim fashion where we try to recreate what you see on Sundays. We have a silent bid system in free agency. We have a competitive salary calculator, a trade committee, and a structured league system with reps and commissioners. Now, keep in mind that this is all rolled up into an actual competitive league where we come out with YouTube videos and streaming games that are just highlight reels. Now, MSPA is not just a Madden league. It's actually a community of users that we consider a family. And to take it a step further, MSPA is basically an extension of SPA, which covers another Madden league, a 2K league, and a PGA league. Now, I will drop all this information below if you want to give us a shout. So now that we have MSPA out of the way, now we can focus on why you came to the channel in the first place, for the Chicago Bears and the 2021 Madden season. So here we are with the Chicago Bears depth chart. And on top of it, Mitchell Trubisky. Now this is going to be something that I'm going to have to decide. And it really depends on how this season goes. But do I want to bring Trubisky back for another year? And I guess we have to see how he's going to play out. But he is still only, I believe, 26 years old. And if you look at his numbers, I mean, they're not great. He's probably the 32nd best quarterback in the league, but he's still young. He still can get out of the pocket, and he can still make plays. So this season is basically going to be treated like the Bears in real life. We're going to give him a chance to produce, and if he produces, maybe we can bring him back on a couple-year contract to produce even more. But I believe that I can probably build him up to be serviceable with the team that I'll have. Like I said, we'll see. It may turn out bad, and we may end up just getting rid of both these guys and moving forward. Because if you look at Foles' numbers, I mean, they're not much better. I mean, they're actually kind of worse. I mean, he has a better short throwing, better medium, same deep ball, but can't run. 70 speed is not going to cut it. So it's pick your poison, and I believe going with the younger guy is probably going to be the better option. So we'll see. At running back, I've already switched it up a little bit and put Tariq Cohen as the starter because he is basically the same player as he was last year, except for I don't think he got as high as an overall this season. I'm not sure what he started at, but his speed and his spin and his juke and his elusiveness, it's all about the same. So I'm not sure what they changed unless his awareness just dropped. But at 77 overall, I believe he gets signed in a couple years, so we could probably get him up, in the low 80s and then sign him, and he'll be a cheap contract to be able to work with for 5 years or 6 seasons. This, in my opinion, is a good running back to have. A really quick running back that's really elusive. As long as he stays healthy, I think we are money here. I thought it was funny that they switched Cordell Patterson to running back, and he immediately became the best player on the team. But he's older, so we really don't want to invest a lot of time into building him up, because we're doing this for 6 years, and development matters. So having him in the lineup, though, will be kind of cool because I'll be able to split him out and bring him in to run the ball. So I'm going to have fun with him this season. But over the long haul, I doubt he'll be here. He may not even be here after this season. We'll see how the contracts work out. David Montgomery, he is going to be one of those he is what he is kind of players. And he's slow, but he has a really good break tackle. Looks like he has a good spin move. He has good numbers. except for he's just slow. If you threw Tariq Cohen's speed on this guy, he would be a monster. But that's the problem. He doesn't have speed, so I won't be able to make big plays with him. So he's just going to be probably the short yardage guy, and I can make that work. So I am actually happy with the running backs. I'm not going to lie, I'm happy with it. At wide receiver, Allen Robinson is something that we're going to have to look at. I have already contacted a few teams about possibly moving him. And this is because he's going to come up for a re-sign after this season, and he's probably going to command about $18 million. And the way the cap is running with the Chicago Bears team right now, it is going to be really, really tough to keep this guy. So I actually have to make a decision on letting some pieces go or letting him go. This is definitely a franchise. You have a cap to work with, and he's a good player, but he's also 27, going to be 28. So this could change at the top of this depth chart, depending on if anybody tries to come after him. But what I do know is Anthony Miller is somebody that I want to develop. I want to develop him into a solid go-to wide receiver. He has the numbers to start off with. I mean, if you see, he has an 82 catch, an 81 catch in traffic, really good spectacular catch, and he has pretty decent route running, and he's young. So we'll be able to work with him and build him up. Darnell Mooney is the rookie who just got drafted this season, and he has great speed. He already has a really good catch in traffic. Catching could be a little bit better, and his route running is really bad. But this is a guy that we can just right off the bat develop. This is probably going to be the future wide receiving core, between Miller and Mooney. But things change. I mean, they could just be complete disappointments, and we may end up moving into free agency or back into the draft to get somebody else. Outside of those two, Ted Ginn, win your stopgap. Javon Wims could be something as far as a possession wide receiver. Reggie Davis is just a speedy guy. Riley Ridley he's just not going to fit in the plans. So wide receiving core, pretty much these two guys is what I'm focusing on, and we'll see about Allen Robinson. At tight end, we drafted Cole Kmet from Notre Dame, and I'm a big fan of this draft pick. I'm actually a Notre Dame fan and a Chicago Bears fan, so it's cool to see that my boy from Notre Dame comes over to the Bears team to take over this tight end slot. Now in game, it's the whole: do I want to start Jimmy Graham right now just because he has really good numbers, he catches the ball really well? Or do I want to just go ahead and start Cole Kmet? I mean, that's the future of the position. And if you look at the numbers, like 87, 83, 82 to 77, I mean, this is a big difference, 86 to 78. It's almost like Jimmy Graham isn't that good to start over Cole Kmet. Like, if you just go by the raw numbers, yeah, he's better. But if you're thinking long term, Cole Kmet's 21 years old or 22. And you're going to have him for 6 years to develop, where Jimmy Graham is just going to regress right after this season. Cole Kmet, hopefully we'll get him Rookie of the Year. That's what I'm going to be pulling for. So anybody watching this video that's going to be playing me, watch this guy. I'm giving out tips. The offensive line, we have some pieces, and we have to fill some pieces. Leonard Jr., he's good for right now. In a few years, he's probably going to have to be re-signed, and he's getting older. So we'll have to monitor that. James Daniels is the absolute future of the offensive line, and I may move him to center. He was a center last year, and I liked him there. So we'll have to figure out what we want to do there. Whitehair is a really good player. The right side of the line is where I'm a little iffy. Ifedi and Massey. I mean, both these guys are subpar. Massey is old, so we may have to move on from him like after 1 year. So the offensive line is kind of up and down. Is the best way I can put that. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive line is awesome. But the only drawback to the awesome defensive line is Hicks is old. So he's going to regress off of that 88. And we'll have to figure out whether or not we want to re-sign him to a short contract. We'll figure that out. Eddie Goldman at the defensive tackle he's young, he's good. We'll be able to develop him, but he's gonna command a payday, and that's coming soon. Nichols, on the other hand, I like him. I had him last year, built him up. This year is going to be a little bit different. To me, it's like rebuilding this guy all over again, and I made him dominant, so I think I can do it again. Now, to the outside linebackers and inside linebackers, I mean, you got Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan, and Robert Quinn right now is pegged as the starters. But I can't say that I'm really comfortable with the linebackers. Now, like in this first season, yes, it's a good solid core. I'm going to be able to do a lot of work with them. But then after this season, Robert Quinn's going to probably regress back to like a 78, 79. And then you have Khalil Mack on the other side, who is probably going to regress quickly as well. So we have really older outside linebackers, and then the middle linebacker, Trevathan, is also really old. So he's going to regress. Obviously, Roquan Smith is going to be the future. I like Bunaway. I'm going to say Bunaway. Ego Bunaway. It's hard to say that name. I like him. I used him last year, and he was really good, and I got him built up. So in my mind, I can do it again with those two. Outside of that, there's really no youth on this team. I mean, that we can actually use. I'm a little surprised that they didn't put Khalil Mack's brother on the game. It's possible maybe he'll be added later if maybe he becomes something and we can get him in here. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to pull that off. But Khalil Mack himself, it's kind of one of those. I know he's going to regress. He's going to lose speed. Do I want to possibly move on from him in a couple of years, send him to a team that could use him as just a straight-up 4-3 pass rusher? I don't know. We'll see how the regression goes. Do I want to trade him? No, not at all. But, I mean, regression is a real thing in Madden, and all these awesome numbers are going to eventually fall off, and he cost an absolute ton of money on this guy. So, moving forward to the cornerbacks. Kyle Fuller, kind of in the same boat as the linebackers. He's 28, I believe, 29. So he's going to regress in that he's going to fall off of that 85. And outside of him at the cornerback, it's all about development or just not enough talent. Jalen Johnson is the rookie that just came in, so obviously we're going to be focusing on building him up to be the number one lockdown corner for the team. And outside of him, Kevin Tolliver, 66, but, what can we do? So most likely we're going to have to add pieces in the secondary. We're going to have to see where Kyle Fuller's regression is going to take him and see how much longer we want to hold on to him. He may be good enough to be able to keep around for a few seasons. We'll see. Eddie Jackson, free safety. This is the safety for the next 6 seasons, and I'm surprised that they only made him a star on the game. So this guy went from X Factor to star in 1 year, and it's crazy to me because, in my opinion, he is probably top 2 easily in all of the NFL. But for me, it is what it is. We're still going to do work with him, and he's still going to make a bunch of plays for me. At the other safety, this is where it gets a little dicey. I do not like Tayshaun Gibson because he is incredibly slow. You can't have an 84 speed at the back end of that secondary and expect to stop people. Like, people are just going to go over the top of him all game long. So chances are I'm going to move somebody else in that position. I mean, 80, you may look at it and say, well, 87 is not really that much faster. It is. Like, in my mind, and when you play the game, 87 is a little bit faster than 84, and you can notice the speed difference. So even though he has an 82 zone, it's going to be really hard for me to keep him back there. So we'll have to play around with it, see who else we can bring in there. At kicker, Pinero, punter, O'Donnell, average kick power. So we'll see how that works out. A kick returner and punt returner, I mean, that's definitely going to be Patterson, Ginn Jr., and Tariq Cohen. Now, I may not use Tariq Cohen because I'll be focusing on him being the running back. So I'd say Patterson is likely going to be the return man, and hopefully we can break off a few with him. And so, to give you an overview of the season, the team schedule is here. We're going to move them beyond the preseason here. So, we got the Lions, the Giants, the Falcons, Colts, Buccaneers, Panthers, Rams, Saints, Titans, Vikings again, Packers, Lions, Texans, Vikings, Jags, and Packers. It's a manageable schedule. Based on some of these teams that we've played before. The Lions is solid. The Giants is a good team. I mean, we got some good teams in here. It looks like the Falcons hasn't been signed up yet. Daquan Cush, which some of you probably know, I get him in week 4. Pollux, good player. So it's gonna be a fun year. I'm looking forward to all the division battles and the conference battles, trying to develop these players and seeing what this roster is going to look like in year 6 versus year 1. So I cannot wait to get started and bring this content to you and show you all the work that the Chicago Bears are going to do for the 2021 Madden season. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you some cool content over the next 6 seasons, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you a Super Bowl and more wins and losses. So we'll see you week 1 against the Detroit Lions.